Welcome back, listeners, to another mesmerizing episode of Red Hunt, where I, Red, delve into the thrilling and heart-wrenching relationship stories from the vast depths of Reddit. So grab your popcorn as we embark on this roller coaster ride together, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Am I the antagonist for undermining my sister parenting? My sister Joy, 29 years old, and her husband Ed, 31 years old, have 2 kids, Noah, 4 years old, and Alex, 2 years old. Alex is currently in the hospital due to health issues. It's nothing too serious, but he'll have to stay there for at least a week, so I agreed to take in Noah until his brother is better. Noah is a sweet boy but a picky eater. His parents are currently trying to get him to eat fish, so my sister asked me to cook fish for him. So far so good. I bought some fish, put in extra effort in the kitchen, and finally served Noah his dinner. He refused. I said he had to try at least one bite, so he did, but then immediately made choking sounds and spat it back out onto the plate, and only ate the rice. It was very little rice for one meal, but oh well, he seemed satisfied. I talked to Joy, and she asked me to try again tomorrow. On day 2, same issue. I took Noah to the store and let him pick out the fish this time, hoping it would change something, but nope. I exaggerated how yummy I thought the fish was, really laid it on thick, but he wasn't impressed in the slightest and just ate the potatoes. My sister said to cook only fish the next day, no side dish, so Noah wouldn't have options. I already felt a little bad because I thought the potatoes weren't enough, and Noah is kind of a scrawny kid, but I decided to give it one more try. On day 3, I read that kids like food better if they helped prepare it, so I made it fun for us and Noah had a great time. When it was time to eat, he stayed stubborn. I made him take a bite, but he just swallowed it whole, got white in the face, and developed a coughing fit. When he calmed down, I asked him to try again but chew this time, but he shook his head vehemently and hid under the table. I said he wasn't getting anything else, but he just kept asking if he could go to his room, so I let him. I was worried, so when I heard him walking around in his room an hour past his bedtime, I went to check up on him. He said he couldn't sleep. I asked if he was okay. He said he was hungry. I offered to heat up the fish, but he refused and said he'd rather try to sleep again and promised to be quiet. I felt horrible, so I made him a couple of sandwiches. He fell asleep soon after and I called Joy. She said I should just give up on it for now. However, 2 hours later, Ed showed up and he was pretty mad. He woke Noah and carried him to his car, yelling at me the entire time like, "Who do I think I am?" I undermined his authority in front of their kid. I had no business getting involved in other people's parenting decisions when I don't even have kids myself. Now Noah learned pouting will get him anything he wants. I think he's being unfair. They involved me in their parenting. Joy asked me to do something about Noah's eating habits. I have no experience with kids. What was I supposed to do? Worst of all, now he doesn't want me seeing my nephews at all anymore. I can see why you tried so many different things to get Noah to eat fish. It seems like you really went above and beyond to help out. Ed definitely overreacted though, especially considering that Joy had asked you to intervene. It's unfortunate that this has caused a strain in your relationship with your nephews, but hopefully, things will calm down eventually. Am I the antagonist for discipling my kids and being stern with them? I, 40-year-old male, have been married to my wife Leah, 39-year-old female, for 4 years now, and we have been together for 6. I have 3 children with my ex-wife, ages 15, 14, and 12, and a stepson named Sammy, who is 12, from Leah's first marriage to her late husband. Back in October, Sammy confided in Leah that my kids had been pressuring him to spend time with them whenever they hung out. They would get angry at him whenever he did something without them. We initially thought it was great that the kids spent so much time together and were close. However, Sammy didn't always want to hang out or play with them. When he declined their invitations, they would threaten to tell us and get him into trouble for not spending time with them. They would say that I am now his new dad, and that made them his siblings, so siblings should spend a lot of time together. Although my oldest child mentioned that she was trying to include Sammy, I had no idea they were pressuring him. Sammy mentioned times when he wanted to do things with his friends. For example, he mentioned going to a water park every couple of weeks with his best friend's family, who had a pass. My kids told him that such activities are meant for siblings or should include them, and they claimed he would be in trouble if he didn't comply. The same happened when he went to the movies with his friends. Sammy provided many specific examples, and my wife was upset when he shared this with her. She informed me about it, and I talked to my children. Initially, they denied it, but my oldest admitted that she was trying to bring everyone together and Sammy was not cooperating. When I asked her where she got this idea, she said it came from my parents. I made it clear that they were not allowed to treat him this way, and I had them apologize to him. I also reminded them that they spend time with their friends without Sammy. I also spoke to my parents, who defended their actions, stating that this is how families should be, and that maybe the kids took it too far. They claimed that they were making more effort than Sammy. However, we believed that things had improved until Sammy told his mom that it was still happening a couple of weeks ago. The incident that triggered this confession was a birthday party he attended to which my kids were jealous of the location and mad because they didn't receive an invitation. This was mainly an issue with my younger two, but my oldest encouraged them as well. I went to talk to my kids again, and they expressed that Sammy never invites them to do things, and they are tired of it. They defended their actions, but I told them that a 3-to-1 argument was not fair, and Sammy is entitled to do his own thing. I gave them consequences for their actions and mentioned that I would also consider therapy for them. Sammy is already receiving therapy. They found it unfair and argued that I should be on their side. My parents tried to argue against my decision, but I made it clear that their opinion was not welcome since they started this whole situation and saw nothing wrong with it. My 2 brothers heard about it from our parents, and they believe that I am being too harsh on the kids. They called me an ass. I'm torn and wondering if I am the one in the wrong here. Am I being too harsh? It's important to address this behavior because your children were pressuring and manipulating Sammy, which is unfair and unhealthy. Punishing them and considering therapy shows that you care about their growth and well-being, while also acknowledging the harm they've caused. Your parents and brothers may not fully understand the situation, but ultimately, it's your responsibility as a parent to teach your children empathy and respect for others. Am I the antagonist for refusing to go to my sister's wedding, knowing that it means most of our family won't attend? Throwaway account. I, 40, and significantly older than my sister, 25. As such, after she was born, I was repeatedly looked over and parentified by my parents in favor of her. Examples of this include giving my old clothes and toys to her, without my permission, rather than preserving them as a keepsake of my childhood. In short, my inner child has had to do a lot of healing over the years. I am low contact with my parents and sister, but apparently she is engaged and wants me to be a part of the wedding party. Now, I am not comfortable around children of any age. It is part of my trauma. Being around them for me comes with a sense of responsibility that reminds me of the neglect I suffered at the hands of my family. My sister knows this, so I assumed with her asking me to be in the wedding, that the wedding would be child-free. During a discussion, she mentioned her fiancé's best friend's daughter would be serving as flower girl and our cousin's son would be ring bearer. I reminded her that I would not be comfortable around children and expressed my disappointment that she would invite me to be in a wedding that is not child-free. She looked sad for a second and told me that there were many young children and families that are close to her and her fiancé, and the day would feel incomplete without them, and if I really wasn't comfortable around children to that extent, she would understand if I am unable to attend. I was shocked that she would uninvite me in favor of random kids, and it reminded me of being thrown aside in favor of her when we were young, so I left to collect myself. I attempted to ask my parents to talk some sense into her, but surprise, surprise, they took her side. At this point I was deeply hurt and needed an outlet, so I did something that might make me ta. I am friends with some other family members on Facebook, and I made a post about how my sister was kicking me out of the wedding and that my parents were taking her side, all because of the trauma that they contributed to themselves. I didn't go into detail because I didn't think it was anyone else's business. I just wanted to vent. Now people are apparently refusing to go to my sister's wedding unless I am reinstated as part of the wedding. She and my parents are begging me to come but still refusing to budge on the children being there, so it doesn't make much of a difference to me. I do feel bad because I didn't know that our family would refuse to come, but I cannot go to an event that has that many children running around or retract my statement because I don't want the family to think I lied. Am I the antagonist for refusing to go? Your sister should have respected your boundaries and understood how the presence of children triggers your trauma. It's understandable that you needed to vent on social media as a way to cope and feel heard. It's unfortunate that your family is now divided, but ultimately your mental well-being should come first, and if attending the wedding would be detrimental, then it's okay to prioritize yourself. My dad is remarrying after the death of my mother. In November 2021, my mom died after battling cancer for 5 years. It was a tough experience. During that time, my parents lived far away but moved closer in the last few months of her life. We have 3 kids, and my 11-year-old daughter had a difficult time coping with the loss. My parents haven't been close with my kids because they lived across the country for most of my adult life. Although it was their choice, it meant they missed out on getting to know their grandchildren. My daughter is currently in therapy for various reasons and has been having nightmares involving my mom. It's been hard for her, but we're doing our best to help her through it. My other 2 children, aged 9 and 3, haven't had significant issues because they were younger and have fewer memories of my mom. About 3 weeks ago, my dad called and asked me how I felt about him dating. I told him I just wanted him to be happy. He mentioned going out to dinner with someone he and my mom had known from school. I didn't think much of it initially, though it was a bit strange. Soon after our call, he posted a picture on social media with this woman. I was taken aback by how quickly they seemed to be moving, but I didn't say anything to my dad. Last weekend, he asked us to visit him because it had been a while since we last saw him. He let us know that the new woman would be there too, seeking our approval. I feel like she would have come regardless of our opinion. The meeting went fine, and she was nice enough. Today my dad called and told me he's getting married. I laughed, thinking he was joking, but he insisted it was true and happening on February 24th. I didn't know how to react. I'm not mad at him, just surprised at how quickly he decided to jump into this. He has 3 kids still in high school living at home, while this woman has a son in his 20s with a wife and 2 kids living with her. I doubt my dad has fully considered the consequences of his decision. Tonight, I'll have to explain to my kids what is happening. My 3-year-old won't really care, but my 11-year-old daughter will likely be confused. How can I make this conversation easier for my kids without making things worse? We only see my dad once every 5 or 6 weeks, and he isn't close with my kids. Nevertheless, I know my daughter will have many questions about this situation. That's a lot to process, but it sounds like you're handling it as best as you can. It's understandable that your dad's quick decision to remarry after your mom's passing caught you off guard. It's important to be honest with your kids and explain the situation in an age-appropriate way. Reassure your daughter that it's okay to feel confused, and let her know that you're there to support her through it all. Food allergy charity doesn't want to pay their bills? Enjoy a nutty party. I work in a food catering place that accommodates allergy-free requests. We ensure that we do not include any allergenic food, either as a hidden ingredient or through unintentional cross-contamination while cooking. Based on our experience, the most common allergies we encounter are peanuts, tree nuts, eggs, and milk. By preparing meals without these 4 ingredients, we usually cater to everyone's needs at events. Recently, we had a new client who was a food allergy advocacy group. They placed a large catering order last month but did not pay us. This put us at a loss of $2,000, and we were considering legal action. Surprisingly, the group placed another order with us, but this time it was a smaller one worth $450. Instead of requesting a meal free of nuts, eggs, and milk, the group asked for a nut-free vegan meal option. They believed that it would ensure a peanut, tree nut, egg, and milk-free event at a lower cost, as they could avoid our additional allergy-free preparation fees. This was a reckless move on the part of the advocacy group, because the party attendees likely had severe allergies to milk and eggs. Think of it as similar to life-threatening peanut allergies, but for dairy products, milk, cheese, cream, and egg products instead. If we hadn't known that they were a food allergy charity, we wouldn't have been as cautious in ensuring the meals were free of eggs and dairy. We would have focused mainly on catering to the nut-free aspect. However, the charity forgot one important thing. It's now possible to purchase dairy made from lab-grown milk derived from yeast. The protein in this dairy is identical to conventional milk, but is technically considered vegan. We prepared all the meals using this lab-grown dairy and loaded them into the van. Upon arriving at the function hall, we informed the charity organizers that the meals contained lab-grown dairy. The charity owner became furious, claiming that they had requested a dairy-free option and that there were people with life-threatening milk allergies in attendance. I calmly explained that the order was nut-free vegan since we used lab-grown milk, and reminded them that they had not paid us for the previous order. I also mentioned that if they didn't accept the order, it would simply become our team Christmas party instead. The owner lost control and physically confronted me. Thankfully, the rest of my team managed to restrain him, and the function hall staff called the police. The owner falsely accused us of assaulting him, but the police reviewed the CCTV footage from the function hall and asked both of us to leave. They did mention that we could visit the police station later if we wished to press charges. A few moments later, the owner called and pleaded for an apology, offering to pay both the original invoice from the last order and today's invoice immediately. I decided to accept the apology and the payment. Overall, our team had a pleasant pre-Christmas party enjoying the vegan meals made with lab-grown dairy. Wow, what a roller coaster of a story. It's crazy how the food allergy advocacy group didn't pay for their previous order and had the audacity to place another one. And then they had the nerve to complain about the lab-grown dairy in the meals when they specifically asked for nut-free vegan. Good on Op for standing their ground and getting the payment they deserve. At least the team got to enjoy their Christmas party with some interesting food options. Am I the antagonist for refusing to eat one friend's meat but not another's? My husband Jake and I have a group of friends from his college. One of our friends, B, is jealous of another friend named Lou because Lou dated someone who rejected her. Lou, Jake, and I live far away from B and another friend named Guy. We live about 2 hours away from a tourist city on what we call our homestead. We have a garden, chickens, and a dairy cow. We try to avoid eating processed foods from the store, except on special occasions. My family never eats meat or dairy unless we know where it came from. Since I am a stay-at-home mom, I make things from scratch, including butter, buttermilk, farmer's cheese, cream cheese, and more. Lou lives a similar lifestyle, and we often trade eggs or canned goods from our garden for goat cheese or other things she grows. Her neighbor raises beef cattle, and we have met the cows before. Last year, Lou's family and my family split a cow. D and G were visiting the nearby city, so they decided to have a dinner at my house. I made pasta with garlic bread, butter, and chicken parmigiana. I don't usually talk about my eating morals, so B and G weren't aware of our preferences. Lou hadn't visited in a while, so she brought a bag of her frozen meatballs that we had previously traded for. My kids loved the meatballs, and B got curious about what made them so special. I told her that Lou must have some secret sauce because I can never make them as delicious. Overall, the dinner went well. On their way home, B and G planned to stop for dinner. Lou and I were already making dinner when they arrived. B brought a tray of meatballs that looked homemade and asked everyone to try them. I don't enforce the know your cow rule with my kids, but my daughter asked B which cow the meatballs were from. B laughed and said they were just grocery store meat and urged us to try them because they were good. My daughter declined. Despite G's efforts to save the situation by eating the meatballs, B came into the kitchen looking upset and yelled at Lou and me. She accused us of turning our families against her and refusing to try her food out of spite. I tried to explain that we only eat meat and dairy if we know where it comes from. B laughed and called me a liar, pointing out that the meal I served at my house had cheese, butter, chicken, and milk. She claimed there was no way I knew the source of Lou's meatballs. I clarified that we did know the source, as they came from our dairy cow and chicken. I mentioned that we consider ourselves vegans when we're out. B sarcastically remarked that it was convenient for us to approve of Lou's food choices but not hers. She then stormed out with G. Since then, they haven't said anything directly to us except for one Facebook post B made about fake vegans who only follow a vegan diet when it suits them for attention. This makes me wonder if we should have just tried her meatballs. B sounds so insecure and petty, trying to one-up Lou all the time. It's clear that she brought those meatballs to get a rise out of everyone and make Lou's homemade ones look bad. She's just looking for attention, and it's sad that she's taking it out on you and Lou. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.